Hello, welcome everyone. Thank you for allowing us to present you this very, very exciting part of the Gateway to Fair Trade Fashion project, which is our activity connected to market access. And we will be discussing today our joint participation in Source Fashion trade fair events to take place in January in London. So without further ado, I would love to present Dondrill. There's so much I could tell you about Dondrill, but let me try to put it together. Dondrill is, of course, a dear friend of mine. She is also the inception behind the success of my own brand in the US market. Dondrill has over a decade of experience in global artisan trade and development. She is a passionate social entrepreneur. She is also formerly a senior producer and podcast host of New York Now and American Handcrafted. And she is this amazingly dedicated person who is championing handcraft brands and products in the global market. So I'm going to leave it to her to continue. Thank you. Welcome, Dondrill.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, Isabella. Hi, everybody. Of course, I'm Dondrill, and I'm really delighted to be here with you. Thank you for joining for me this morning and you this afternoon. I'm going to jump right into our presentation. First, I'll go through the table of contents so that you'll know what to expect as we move through section one. Of course, we'll talk about the WFTO mission, changing perspectives, the Gateway to Fashion, to Fair Trade Fashion mission. We'll do the project managers, market access, source fashion show, booth concept in the booth merchandising, and of course our merchandising fixtures. In part two, we'll go over the fashion trend report, the capsule collection, curated visions, traditions and techniques, conscious couture, submission guidelines and submission criteria, and of course the mentoring and going a little bit into 2026 for an update. So thank you so much. First, I'd like to start with talking about the FTO's mission and goals. As you know, the very top 5 guided goals is networking, leadership, sharing and learning, awareness and advocacy, market access, and capacity enhancement. So with this new project, the WFTO is continuing those 5 goals and principles. And let's start in with the changing perspective. Fashion is recognized as a crucial area for achieving the sustainable development goals, offering immense potential and driving measurements, the impact to both communities and the environment. Fair fashion enterprises are accelerating the change. You know, the sectors proving environmental and social sustainability can coexist in a timeless aesthetic and product excellence. And so that's, you know, when we think about fashion and think about it's part of our lifestyle. So bringing in sustainability and bringing in that whole purpose focus is a perfect fit for where we are right now. Part of the GFTF mission is to collaborate to aim a strengthening of the ethical fashion industry. In its mission, we hope to enhance visibility, market access, and capacity for small producer groups, much like yourselves. Ethical brands guided by principle and circularity, gender equity, and economic justice. The vision is to create a fashion system with benefits for people and the planet. Of course, my wonderful colleague, Isabella, and of course, you've already learned about me. You'll be working with the both of us on the Gateway to Fair Fashion project, and just a little bit about who we are.
Yes, I am just the assistant here. I'm just going to make sure that Dondrill has everything she needs to take you to this beautiful event in the UK and to make the best out of it.
Yes, that would be perfect. All right, so let's talk about market access. We know that the trade shows, they open doors to brand. You really get to step directly into the wholesale market. It gives you a unique space and, of course, to meet buyers. It's a face-to-face building lasting connection. And I'd like to also say it is the most important aspect of the fair trade market, because this is the place where you'll meet the most buyers in one building at one time. with their sole intention is to be there to connect and to buy from brands. And so it's a really important aspect of what we're doing, this market access. These events are more than sales opportunities, of course. They're a stage for storytelling and trend spotting and positioning your brand for growth. One of the key factors that I'd love to go over, the 5, is, of course, to connect with buyers. You want to showcase your brand, to spot trends early. You'll very often find that what's forward in fashion and other industries, you'll see them at trade shows. You want to drive sales, of course, and expand your network. And then there's 5 new innovative actions that are happening at trade shows that brands should be very much aware of and participating in. The immersed brand worlds. There's a smart digital catalog that's happening. Now they're booking VIP buyer appointments for brands, shareable content spots. There's also a space for that. And then, of course, personalizing what those follow-ups will look like from brand to buyer. So the Source Fashion Trade Show for 2026, slated in London from January the 13th through the 15th. Source Fashion is UK's new sustainable sourcing show. Source Fashion is the biggest ready-made garment manufacturing show in Europe. It's the biggest B2B fashion trade show in the UK. So this is a really, really important market to be a part of. The mission of the show, of course, is responsibility, inspiration, and connection. A few of the show highlights that we can expect during that time is the Source Catwalk, which is a really exciting part of the show where you have a full-on runway. As you can see in the photograph here, it's full-on fashion, it's forward, it's very much runway as you would expect in shows in Paris and throughout Europe. It's what's happening forward in fashion. Of course, there'll be seminars. These are really important learning channels for buyers. Of course, guest speakers, and we're slated to have over 300 global manufacturers at this show. As far as the stats for the show, of course, it's high profile retailers. You can expect that. Over 8,000 plus registered for 2025. That's an increase of 36% from 2024. Out of that demographic of buyers, 70% have a purchasing power. So that means we're dealing directly with the buyer who is in charge of purchasing and has that power to bring in a new collection. 92% are focused on the newness of the show. And we have 3 days to share products and brands, but there's 3 days of attendance. So there's a tremendous opportunity here for Source Fashion. I'm super excited. I love to talk about, I'm going to slow down a bit to talk about our booth concept and the conscious closet. And for me, this is where style tells a story. The concept for us is the artisan craftsmanship. It meets a modern style. Design, for us, it feels both familiar and aspirational. This booth, it immenses buyers with a world of fair trade, handmade fashion, and conscious design. Let's stop at that top paragraph here. The concept of the closet is to bring buyers inside of a living experience from any woman's closet. When you walk in, you see her personality, you see her style, you see clothes by season, you see everything that's sorted out. So going in and getting dressed is a very conscious choice and thinking about what you're going to wear. And we want to normalize fair trade fashion being a part of the very basic concept of getting dressed, having really great options for yourself. And I think that with the buyers, much like the consumers, they're looking for an immense experience that they can walk into an actualized space and it feels familiar and it feels like something that customers can connect to it because they themselves can see their closet within looking at a concept like this. I thought that that would be very important because we do want it to feel personalized. We want buyers to feel comfortable because these are the items that will go from a closet to the merchandising floor in a store. And having things that you can connect with gives you a greater interest and a greater impact as you promote them. Each piece is curated with intention. So think about it being organized by color, season, occasion. There's layers of possibility and wearability in your wardrobe. And so that really makes a difference, because getting dressed is an exciting thing. You can layer on this, layer on that. You can decide what jewelry, just how your entire look is going to be for the day. And that's kind of an experience that we need to experience at a show. We need to create an environment where a buyer can flow through in that way. They're looking at collections that seam seamlessly. They're versatile garments to statement accessories, showcasing artistry, sustainability, and of course, style. And that is our conscious closet concept going forward for 2026.
I would like to add one sentence here, just to so that we all understand well. The idea is that within our members, within our membership, we have all those brands, and we are able to create that kind of an amazing closet. So showcasing a whole, showcasing the idea of what fair trade fashion can be, from jewelry through accessories to wearable pieces. And I think that idea Dondrill worked on very, very hard the past few weeks, is going to be a tremendous asset for all our members.
I think so too. I agree 100%, Isabella. I love to, as she mentioned, for all of our members, it's going to be a great experience. These are the booth merchandising fixtures that I feel really help to bring our closet together. Of course, we're looking at racks where you want to hang garments. You'll see that there's a little small ladder here where, you definitely have to add aesthetic pieces that actually feel creative as well. You'll find that with closets, people are using ladders to hang their scarves or hats. So you'll see a little concept. You'll see a little basket in the corner. That's another ideal to have little fabric pieces that may be rolled up in there, scarves or kind of big shawls. And so that's another concept where you can use a basket. We're looking at adding things like that. You'll also see, of course, the beautiful display for jewelry. We do like that sort of pale wooden bottom. It gives a very clean aesthetic. And of course, because the wood is conscious, it gives an ode to sustainability. You'll see that we're making use of a creative coat rack where, again, you can hang a bag, you can hang a shirt, you can hang a coat. You'll see in the middle where we've got a beautiful statement blouse there with a hat, and then you've got like a bag. So when I look at that, that feels like very resort, very summer, very casual. And then of course you'll go a deeper dive where you see the closet that's in the middle, kind of on the right, where you've got the shoes lined up. You notice the shades are a variation, but they're all in tone because they're all colors that are fitting into the seasons for 2026. When you line up a closet in that way, a buyer, a consumer can go in and again, can see just how it's organized. It gives them a way to really look through the assortment and to decide what they would like to bring into stores. But again, for us, it was to give strong visibility, have everything organized and laid out by section and category so that the buyer gets to have a seamless experience in walking through. You'll also notice we'll have a table here, and that's something that we'll use to stack up textiles. We may bring jewelry pieces to the front or little handbags, where people can kind of walk around in a circle and experience the whole booth that way as we put merchandise curated very selectively throughout the space so that we can give a larger experience, even larger than the booth. And of course, you'll see the bag in the corner, that's a statement piece. We'll talk about statement pieces later, but we like to highlight a piece so that people can see that and wow, this is a gorgeous one. Can I see what's next in this collection? So this is what the intention is around having these fixtures. We'll also have shelving in the booth. And so that will also give us an opportunity to help mimic that closet of organizing space with shelves and hanging racks and other small accessories. This is one of the exciting parts. Of course, it's according to the forecasters here. Fashion forward. So we look at trends for spring, summer 2026. look at the colors. They're categorized by soft, sophisticated pastels. You'll see like kind of an effortless neutrals. These are spring and summers. You know, the combos are creative, but notice that the pieces are classic. They're also very flowy. They move really beautifully. And again, you know, sophisticated pastels that can be interchanged, everything from pieces of ready to wear to a little bit more formal to outerwear. You'll notice these colors moving throughout the palettes. Even for going down here, another palette for spring and summer, you're looking at what they're calling muted tones. They're, you know, key themes are like sun-baked hues, terracottas, milky pastels. You'll find, you know, blues and greens, grounded colors. You'll find olives and, you know, chalky plums and smoky blues. You'll see a combination as you can look on the, probably going to be on your left, you'll see that blend of deeper colors. But again, they're mixed in with muted tones, pastels, earthy colors. It's a beautiful blend of a color palette that will lend itself not only to fashion design, but you'll notice these colors and these trends will carry over into home design. They'll carry over into beauty products. Once a color palette is decided for the season, you'll find it in all facets of design, and it really has an opportunity to tie an entire experience together. Here we're going through the trends for the summer. So this is a really important thing because one of the things that has emerged as we are having a multitude of things sort of happening in the world, it affects how we design, how we think about moving forward, and design is no different. You know, one area that I want to bring out is the fact that it's been heightened by the awareness of environmental urgencies. You know, it's collectively like yearning for authentic connection in a world that is digital. As we move forward in being digital, we still have a community of people, most people, we still desire a human connection. And so these particular collections are conveying not only style, but meant to give you a feeling, as we're calling it a reorientation of mindful expression. You'll notice the green, you'll notice the soft texture. Again, you'll look at movement, beautiful cuts, soft sleeves that are rolled up, but it really, it's reorienting how we look at how we express ourselves through fashion. The next one is what we call the expressive craft. It's kind of, sorry, can you go back, Isabella, to that one, darling? Thank you. So this one right here, so it's celebrating heritage and the human touch. You'll notice that these pieces are crafted. They're bold. They're statement pieces. But again, it's expressive, and handmade and craft is going to the next level in some of these more statement pieces. And then we move on to what we call the fluid realities. They're embracing softness and what we are calling a serene adaptability. Again, notice the movement, notice the clean palette, the classic cuts, dressing easy and soft, and it feels effortless. People are looking at how fabric feels on their skin. You're seeing a variety of depictions of how style is showing up in 2026. The last one here I'm super excited about as well. I love these botanical expressions. It's a reconnection to natural realism. There's kind of a disruption and an abstract of the botanical expressions where you'll find these big chunky florals, and they're moved throughout. They almost look like an abstract painting in a way. They're not perfectly aligned, but again, the intention is to have an expression that is reconnecting, but being in a bolder, more abstract, disruptive way, which is a great statement in fashion. And so for our next one, now we'll go into, you know, these are, of course, these are knitwear. If you'll notice things that are oversized, designed for comfort, there is a tone to that where for 2026, people are looking for a knitwear that brings comfort. They're looking for big and cozy. Another mental aspect of that, it makes people feel safe and blanketed. Again, we're attaching emotion to how trends translate in the market. You'll notice the aesthetic of soft browns. It's a celebration of texture and craft. Notice these warm, earthy colors, everything from the outerwear to your classic sweaters, even down to the handbags. But notice these pieces tend to be a little bit larger, speaking to people want comfort, but they also want to feel a little bit of blanketed. So there's a little extra room in many of the pieces. And even for the sweaters over to the left, they're bold and chunky. These are a little bit more fitted, but again, you've got big and bold, and people feel wrapped and comforted. You come down to the pieces on the right. These are a lot of outerwear pieces. They're flowy, they're a little bit larger. There's great movement. You'll notice texture with the fringes. Even for this classic sort of cream one that's a little shorter, but there's fringes on the bottom. And then you have a more kind of formal beading that's kind of an A-line dress in the last model there. Moving over into more a formal aesthetic where we get more fitted. We're seeing the knitwear being combined with sequins at the top, bringing back the turtleneck. We see a bold statement in the middle where we've got a beautifully beaded gown with kind of we used to call that kind of a teddy bear kind of coat. Again, it's big, it's cozy, it makes a statement. Notice the big wide lapel. People are dressing for statement, for comfort, and of course, always style. And then we go over into kind of these rich cranberries, these burgundies. This is a place where knitwear is really taking on an art aesthetic. You'll notice these kind of points that look where they would be beaded, not beaded, but they would be like little bullet points where they're spiky. So imagine seeing spikes in knitwear. These are some of the bold places people are taking different textures, different statements, and really bringing in things that you don't think to combine together. I think it's really forward, and I think it'll be an exciting transition for what we'll see in knitwear to come for the new year. So next one. Now we move on till we get excited because here's jewelry. And of course, it continues to be about bold statements, reimagining the pearls, the chunky layers, vibrant gems. Of course, the lab stones. There's a standout cuff. Notice that the cuffs are trending. The arm statements, that is a strong comeback. And also what's dominating is, the ear stack, the lariat, the necklaces. Gold is back in a really, really big way. You'll also notice some sort of Americana pieces. We'll have some bold colors like blue and beaded. That's coming back. That kind of vibe is making a strong comeback. But notice as you look at the collections, from a beautiful locket that has a small detail of a butterfly, even bringing in some summer wear for beach wear. Look at the necklace up on the left where there's a mixture of pearls. That is what we call reimagining pearls. They're flat. They're infusions of colors of grays. There's pinks in there, but there's a little smokiness. And then you've got the beautiful starfish that hangs. When we talk about hanging jewelry, we talked about the cuffs, but also the charms. That is a trend that you'll find later that is trending, and another big trend that I can't wait to share with you. And then you'll have where you'll look at the hand at the bottom that has these fringes, but also these are woven bracelets that go around. So this is a really great opportunity for handmade. If you're dealing with wovens and you're looking to expand a collection, there is a movement in having this personalized, global, distinct edge along with some of the more classic bold pieces. You'll also notice the big bold beading. Again, these are pieces, if you're wearing something that's huge and full of statement, these are the kind of bold statements and colors and textures. And also notice the large earring here. When we talk about lab grown stones, we're used to seeing them very small, but here's a very bold, big lab grown stone that almost looks translucent, but it's done in a topaz, a tone on tone with one of the colors for the new season. I'm excited about what's happening in jewelry. You'll notice these things can be just as bold as what's happening in ready-to-wear clothing. And so we'll go on from here. So when I was talking about the trend of the lariats and the little charms on the bracelet in the prior slide, notice the bags here on the right-hand side. It should be your right. What has happened is the charm hang bags. That is a huge trend. It is everywhere. Women are taking their handbags and they're accessorizing them with charms. Look at the multitude of styles, from a kitty on a huge designer Christian Dior bag. Think a kitty on a Christian Dior bag, to a duck here. You've got people are expressing themselves with sort of animated fixtures, cartoons, fun, even kid-like uh, charms, along with mixing it with metal. This trend, it just came out of nowhere. It blew up, and people are expressing themselves in a totally different way. I think it's fun. I think it's exciting. I think for a lot of brands, if you're doing jewelry, it's a wonderful way to be experimental, and tap into this movement of what's happening with these bag charms. I want to tie in knitwear. You'll notice the clutch here. We've got a mix of textures where there is leather, but also a full-on knitwear bag. Again, back to texture that is soft, that is woven. You're looking at the detail. It plays into what we call the stylistic elements of natural materials, things being sculpted and rapid, embossed finishes, innovated, the fold over, and even in urban wear. Notice the tote bag has emerged into a very classic to a very dress form. One, we have these beautiful botanical prints. Again, they're not all in line. You've got swerves going through, a little bit of abstraction. It looks like art. And then, of course, the details, you'll find a really, really solid color. So they're doing solid colors with fine detail, but then going into some of these bold prints. And when we talked about earlier, where sort of the Americana trend was back, these are where these classic stripes are coming in, where you've got a leather or a canvas bottom with a tote, but then you have classic stripes that are going about. And again, back to that one solid color trim, where the statement again is in the straps, and just a little detailing of the front by the brand. Of course, the tote at the top, you'll see that's with a bag charm. This has more details with leather, bold prints on the front. This is one of the things that we call in fashion is color blocking, where you'll do bold blocks of color. One, two, three, four. Here's a bold block encrusting an olive with a soft sort of cream, off whitish, again with that beautiful bag charm. And just to further solidify how these trends are moving, you have Balmain, which is a huge couture brand. Their take on the tote is highly glamorous. I mean, it's all sequins, it's shiny, it's a statement. So the tote bag is forever here in its different iterations. Please take note of that, because a tote bag is, everyone needs a tote bag, and this is what's happening with tote bags. The next one, Isabella. So now we're going to talk about where style meets purpose. And this is about the capsule collection that we're looking for inspiration and going into. There is a reason that you see a lot of basic styles here. We want to show you, in terms of building the essentials, we would like to introduce our take on fair trade fashion as something that's very functional, bringing collections in that buyers go, wow, this is classic, this is easy, I can blend this in. And this is a strategic thought on our process, because sometimes in fashion, they think, well, if it's handmade, it's going to have just all prints, or I've got to wear it for a special occasion. And our messaging is that we want to bring in what we call a streamlined selection of versatile clothing and accessories created to highlight the brand's core offering, so that you get to express a variety of styles, so that that buyer can see, here is a fusion of different styles. Because again, it's about layering, it's about having a flexibility in style. You never want to be totally tied in. It also gives the way to an easy styling. It gives you a strong market appeal. It emphasizes quality, functionality, and of course, a limited availability. And that's one of the great things about in handmade, is that it's not manufactured. You're not going to see thousands and thousands are on the market. It's a brand with intention. It is done in tend to be smaller batches, and that is personalized and special. It feels unique for the client base. Also, part of that strategic tool for designers is to test new ideals. And so think about, if you're being experimental, which we'll talk more about later, it helps to refresh your collection. It'll strengthen it and drive more sales, but it also increases brand identity. So again, streamlined in a way that it looks functional, organized, and customers can have fun with mixing up the palettes and the colors and the different styles for the seasons. The next one we are, Isabella. So here's another, our one of our first or second curation visions. Of course, when we talk about knitwear heritage, of course, that's an ode to handmade and ready to wear. I want to stop on ready to wear for a reason, is that here's an area where largely, particularly in the U.S. market, many American designers, upon coming to Europe, they were known for bringing in ready to wear with designers like Halston, Calvin Klein, Donna Karan, Jeffrey Humphreys, further back in time. That was the statement, because it was always about mixing, layering various pieces. It gave you more versatility and also a little bit more comfort. You didn't feel as restricted in just sort of formal attire. And again, that ideal of dressing, that way of looking at collections, it still remains. And I think it is a wonderful opportunity for handmade brands to look at making these key functional pieces, some bold, some simple. You get a great variety because people want to layer on pieces. So for us, we're looking to sort of debut this aesthetic in 2026 in London, where we present these curated collections in categories that will feature a variety of iterations within each. We are particularly going to be looking at things that are innovative, experimental, trend forward, pieces that demonstrate exceptional execution, scalability, and market relevance. It helps to position artisans for strong visibility. And of course, it gives you an expanded opportunity on the global stage. So again, our knitwear, heritage, ready to wear, and of course, accessories. We can't say enough about that. They are the what I call the icing on the cake once you're dressed, figuring out, oh, there's my earrings, here's my bag, here's my shoes. And so they're all really, really important categories. And so our next curation vision that we continue on, again, we're looking at different iterations of these different categories. You'll notice with this knitwear, that's gone from a pair of slacks, they're made in knit, to a classic sweater. Again, over to heritage design, you're seeing with this heritage piece, you're seeing a beautiful print, but it's all consistent. When I look at this in the immediate, I see West Africa, I see India, I see Asia. There's a fusion in here, but notice there's a consistency with the palette going throughout. Again, soft movement. And then you go over to another ready-to-wear piece. Here's a simple cotton dress that's being worn. Again, it's really easy. It will take you from spring to summer. And of course, accessories. We talked about the raffia bag. Here you're seeing this texture, but it's being formed in the style of a very classic handbag, a front pocket, the hardware mixed with leather, done in a really classic way, but of course, a material that we're very accustomed to using in handmade. Another trend that we're seeing is the actual hat. This hat actually has a knit scarf underneath. So when you're going into the winter season, this actually is your ear covering. So they're combining a scarf that can cover your ears to being able to wrap around your neck. It's being done in a very classic formal hat. It has a nice edge to it, but notice the color palette. And again, the ideal of mixing the knitwear with the accessories of a hat. People are being innovative and going really forward with that. So I'm really excited about where we're looking to curate these kind of styles, because they're really, really visible on the global stage. So the next one we'll go into, here we get so probably some more familiar spaces for us when we talk about recycled canvas. This is a canvas bag with a wax coating that gives it that kind of texture, gives a little shine, but it also gives it that sort of worn, distressed look that's very popular. And then again, here it is trimmed with beautiful leather. So you're getting the construction of a strong canvas tied in with what we call kind of hardware of leather, sustainable, durable. And again, all pieces have been done in a very sustainable way. It's taken, again, the classic canvas bag, which you'll find a lot in tote bags and luggage and travel wear, and also made it even more functional and adding a little bit more design elements to that. Big pockets. It also has straps where you can carry it on your shoulders. The canvas bag and the recycled aesthetic is moving forward in a huge way. Here we go into fringe textiles. So here's a classic sort of either West or East African print, but they've taken that print and they've broken it up with fringes. And so you kind of, as it moves, you kind of get a wave of what the entire palette would look like together, sort of the pattern. But now there's this movement. It makes it a little bit more exciting and fun. And it also has these beautiful sort of bamboo handles for the shoulder bag. So you need the room for the shoulder, but you want all this fun action happening. That's a wonderful thing that's happening with fringe. We saw it earlier on the runway done in knitwear. This is a perfect example how that trend can be translated into some of the materials that we're accustomed to seeing in our various diaspora and cultures of handmade. This particular trend, what I'm calling the reimagined indigenous, this is inspired by the Wapile piece, which you'll find in Latin America, where this is a classic woven trend, but they've taken this piece, they've taken the top of that very noted design, and they've merged it with a beautiful soft cotton. This is the first time I've seen this in a way that you've mixed it with contemporary, with something that is really an ancient textile trend, but it also has a message behind it. And I think this is really exciting for our brands that are weaving and doing embroidery. Think about this kind of combination. Remember, in handmade, it's always about telling stories. And when we can tell stories through textiles, people get inspired, they learn, you dive in deeper to a collection, but you really get a chance to attach that culture and that heritage. And I think this is an amazing example how the two can be intertwined in a very modern, contemporary way. And again, notice the tone on tone. You've got a deeper cream with kind of just a white, but that could be a brown, that can be a pink, it can be an assortment of colors, it can be a fusion of colors. Again, busy here, but muted at the bottom. It's a great example. Here we go into mixed materials, another wonderful examples of, design being reimagined, mixing materials and recycled elements, indigenous techniques with beautiful modern silhouettes. We're celebrating heritage and craftsmanship and innovation. As we see in the bag, a very noted woven piece that we see a lot in the regions. And then you've got bold detail stitching paired with recycled leather. The blend of the materials give you a modern with traditional, and it's a wonderful blend and a great way to show off a heritage design in a very modern, contemporary way. And of course, prints are here in a very bold way. This is what kind of more of a geometrical. And again, notice that the dress has the fringe at the bottom. There's also a fringe under the bust line mixed with this very geometric print assortment of colors, but the tie-in, how it's trimmed, makes it a really wonderful statement. And also the fringe, notice the fringe on the sleeve. So there's opportunity and designs to sort of add what the trends are, but in a very creative way. Even if it's subtle, it's been done in a really very beautiful way, and it's very wearable like that. The next vision that we have here, I want to talk about, of course, traditions and techniques. And this is where the process and preservation of craft really stands in terms of the different techniques that you'll find throughout handmade, from our block prints, metal casting, beading, weaving, stitch work. The storytelling begins in this window because all of these are ancient traditions. They carry artisans forward with techniques that are rooted in centuries of history. Here's an opportunity where you increase your storytelling by the technique, bringing different iterations of it. When a buyer, even just a consumer in the regular market, when they see this, this is the instant indication of a craft, of something that's ancient, something that's been around and rooted in history. That's a connection, as referred to. It kind of reflects the soul of a culture. It invites audiences to step into heritage and connect with the artistry along with the storytelling. So, of course, we expect to see a multitude of these traditional crafts and techniques in collections coming forward, because they are the foundation of the story that we're telling in fashion, along with any other category of design. This is the root of it. This is the point of inspiration. So it is always the foundation of the story. So for the next one we have, Isabella, we can go on. I'm really excited about this one because as we talked about the essentials, we showed neutrals, we've showed very clean palettes. This is where your brand needs to have fun. And I'm calling this conscious couture, where we're having our value principles in ethical fashion, and all the various principles that are ingrained into our brands, our collections. Here's an opportunity to push the boundaries. And so here we invite you to be bold, to embrace it, be experimental. You need to have a piece that is a true statement of the artistry. So imagine having a piece that is over the top, but it has to be curated with pure execution. You can be over the top, but it needs to make sense where it makes one bold collective statement. So in pushing boundaries and showcasing your artistry at the highest level, using your ancient techniques in a very innovative way, it gives you an opportunity to set your work apart. So for us, it's one of a kind. They're powerful. The asset for your submission and marketing campaigns, runway features at trade shows, originality, storytelling, and that are captive to buyers and press alike. Let's dissect the kind of bold, conscious pieces here. The knitwear, bold. It's, look at the dome and sleeves. Everything is exaggerated. These are the kind of statements that are from runway from Paris, for all over the world. But what will happen with this, and the reason I'm telling you this, as a handmade brand, you go, well, how am I gonna, make these pieces like that? In the regular market, and when I say that, I mean where you go to the fashion show and then the trends get brought down to the retail stores, they're iterations of that. These serve as pure inspiration that you can be inspired. There'll always be a trickle down of what the trend looks like, and that is where your opportunity is. Notice the big, bold earring here. Here's an ear, and the bold statement is an ear with loops around it. It's fun. Notice the patchwork in the top with beading with the mesh top. It's breathable, but you get these wonderful patches that make a statement. They're very selectively placed. And notice that even though they're not aligned, they're not intended to be aligned. They're meant to be placed in a way that you can focus on each section of how it would fit the body. I think they've done a really great job in that. Here's an opportunity to layer on various pieces. If you have pieces of sustainable leather, you may have a certain sort of fiber that you're working with that is a little harder. It gives you a chance to kind of they've created a flower with this. You might do that with beadwork. Notice the layers of textiles here where there's sort of a wrap around, including the textiles wrapped around the arm. Again, there's that charm that we're seeing on bags, we're seeing on bracelets. And then again, here is a very bold presentation of the various beadworks and necklaces that you can do. Not only doing the conscious couture, it's also photographing it in a way that it helps to redefine the statement in a much bigger way. And this gives you an opportunity for press to use in your marketing materials. If you're able to be a part of a runway show, then these are the pieces that you want to enter the market with an interest, and then pare down to your more traditional classic pieces. So we do encourage you to think bold in creating at least one piece, that one or two pieces that will make a bold statement for your brand. It also shows buyers that your capability of doing a variety of things that makes a brand more attractive. You don't have to be stuck in one space. You can have your technique, but you need to be innovative in the way it's presented. And I think that's a great opportunity for all of you. The very next one. So we're talking about the submission, and what's part of for the brands. I'm sorry, the little top is cut off here, so I'm trying to see from under the bottom. But what this is about, of course, is the guidelines that are designed to help your brand shine. Please review the following criteria, the requirements carefully. They are the outline of exactly what's needed for your submission to be considerate. So this is a really important opportunity for you to look at exactly what we're looking for. We want to see craftsmanship. We want to hear your story, your readiness. If you're ready for an international market, this is where we need to see that. As we move on to the next slide, you'll find a little bit more clear steps in submitting your images and brand details. And so this is where we dive into these 4 sections. Your design focus, of course, products that reflect global trend, timelessness, cohesive style curated with capsule themes. If you remember, capsule themes are collections that move effortlessly together. I've got a collection here. I got a blouse, a pants, a dress. They're interchangeable. Their color palettes blend together. It gives me something cohesive that a buyer can go in and go, I'd like to have this collection for the store. But it also, again, it gives you market viability because you need to have essentials, you need to have bold, but you also need things that are very wearable. And think about buyers who may be looking at your brand for the very first time. There may be smaller pieces that they say, let me try, because they need to see how customers are going to respond. Another way for you that'll be important is, of course, the product pictures. Of course, high definition, clear images only. We need to capture a multitude of angles and details so that we can really look at how you've executed the design, a close-up of your craftsmanship. The materials are really important, of course, and then the optional lifestyle merchandising shot. And although this is optional, I think it's an important piece for you. Any collection, any brand, marketing is everything. And again, customers want to see themselves in a piece. They want to see, how does that fit into my life? The buyer wants to see, how does this fit into my store, where I'm going to merchandise a story that when my customer comes in, that they can feel that it is possible in their space. And this is why those lifestyle merchandising shots are really important. They go a long way, not just with buyers, but in your social media. We also are looking for a compelling brand story, strong heritage and craftsmanship narrative. What is your story? Dig deep into your region. You know your craft. Is there a new story to uncover? How do you advance the story that you're telling? There's always more layers to stories, particularly when you're dealing with craft that is ancient and centuries old or hundreds of years old. There's always something to learn and uncover. We want you to dig deep and to share something that is compelling. We want transparency, of course, in your sources and your fair trade practices. That's important because this is who we are. And as an organization, this is what we represent. Things that are inspiring, our artistic origins, values, and your values are, again, your principles. Not just being sustainable. What are your other principles? Ethical. Are you doing non-toxic materials? Are things salvage, recyclable? Of course, the ethical labor, all of those things go into your value system. And then again, back to compelling brand story, your images need to relay that message because that's where you get the impact. And then, of course, a really, really important category here is your production readiness. You can do everything that's in the first 3, but if you are not ready for the market and you can't perform at that level, you get one time to make a first impression with a buyer. And the bottom line will be, even after they fall in love with the collection, is consistent high craftsmanship standards, your capacity to fulfill large purchase orders and for you to be able to repeat those, a proven system that, meeting the lead times consistently, and of course, strong quality control, paying attention to detail. These things will be really important. Again, you can do all three, but this will be the bottom line for a buyer, because these are the important details that they need to move forward with your brand. The very next one, Isabella, here.
Okay, maybe I will give you 2 minutes to breathe. Thank you so much for walking us through this way. Dondrill showed us what are the latest trends in fashion and in accessories. And according to those trends, she will be curating that collection from different members of our organization to showcase in that beautifully thought stand, which will be attractive, which will show craftsmanship, values, and stories to potential buyers. And we hope that bringing this all together and showing that fair trade fashion is a way of living, those are our values, will be extremely appealing for the buyers. So thank you. And it was extremely rich to thank you for walking us through all those trends. Those are very important trends. Those are the trends of now.
Yes.
So, you know, this also gives a lot of thoughts to the designers and to the brand to see what they should be designing also in the future. Not to be afraid, we will not be asking you designing pieces from scratch. We have little amount of time between now and January. The Dondrill will walk you through the process of how to apply, but she will be also curating. So the idea is to review your pieces. You will, of course, submit those pieces you think are matching the best what Dondrill just presented here for the craftsmanships, for the story, for the actual trends. And we will be helping you to put this all together to be presented at the show. Dondrill, take it away.
Oh, I thought that was a great. So we got the QR code, which is good. Our very next one, thank you so much as well. Really important points for us. Our next one here, I think we're kind of.
Yes, so this is a QR code. You guys please scan. This will lead you to an online application process where we will be asking questions about your brand, about your values, about your contact, etc., etc. You also have linked in there a few important documents. So a submission checklist where you will know exactly what you have to submit, a link to the folder where you can put that information in so that Dondrill can review them all, a guideline of you know, what to submit, how to submit, and all the trends. After this webinar, there will be also the recording of this available in the member hub space, so that because there was a lot of information, I for sure will go and re-listen to those to make sure that this is syncing, you know, all those trends and the colors and etc. etc. So you have everything in there. So once you scan this QR code, it will lead you to a form. Please fill this up so that we can work on selecting your brand. I just wanted to add that we will be selecting approximately 10 different brands to be showcased. Of course, we want to bring as many products as possible and as many members as possible, but we have to be extremely mindful of the space and not to overwhelm the buyers with a too large selection. This stand is to show our values, to show our beautiful products. We will be, of course, linking those possible buyers with different brands, so you will always have the possibility to showcase the remaining of your collection as well. There will be a second session of this, so those who are not able to participate or who are not going to be selected this time, I will have another chance in about a year time to participate on the second edition. So I hope this process is going to be appealing and fair to everyone. Dondrill, back to you. Thank you.
No, that's a really important information. And just to sort of kitty off of you know, the submission part, going into 2026, there will be an update on mentorship and so forth and opportunities that brands can apply for themselves. But within this process for what we're doing now, the kind of mentorship will be within the process focus, submission advisory, of course, the curation process, collection review, feedback for your storytelling. And those are the kind of things that we'll be able to offer in the process of you applying to be a part of the Gateway to Fashion, Fair Trade Fashion. So just a little reminder of that. And here, I am, I mean, I've done a lot of writing and started kind of as a kid. I was writing poetry, and then I went on writing stories and scripts and all of this stuff. And so I continue that. And every project that I work on, something comes to mind, something that I want to express. And so this is what came to mind. Elegance is no longer defined by brands, and that means high-end brands. But it's by the choices, the soul of your choices, and that soul being, what are your value principles? Let your wardrobe reflect the beauty and fair fashion. So that is my inspiration, my takeaway, and that is also happening in the market. There was a time that a brand, the elegance, was defined by only huge couture brands, as Isabella would know, coming from such luxury fashion background. And I am delighted, beyond delighted, that that has changed, because it gives us even more opportunity. Doesn't make those brands any less luxurious, because they are, but it gives brands like yours and many other people a chance to enter the realm, because buyers and customers see the world in a much broader way, and your collections have much greater accessibility for a buyer than many of the other ones. And it's based on your values, how principles have changed in society, and how we're more consciously aware of what we buy, where we buy it from, what it means to us. Does it align with our values? And I feel that this is very fitting for where we are and where we intend to go in fair trade fashion. So I just wanted to share that quote with you. And with that, I want to thank you for joining. As you know, my name is Dondrill, and I am working on this project. I'm super excited to have joined you, and thank you for listening. And of course, let me know if you have any other questions. I'm happy to go into a Q&A now with Isabella and myself.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I wasn't able to monitor the chat. Do we have any questions in the chat?
Okay, I see.
I guess we're not very crowded, so if you just want to unmute yourself and maybe ask your questions, that's going to be
Oh, there's one thing. Okay, we have one right here.
yeah, please go on and tell us.
Oh, very nice. Oh, thank you. Oh, wow. So I'm looking at your in the chat. I guess I'll read it. First of all, I would like to say that I find your work very inspirational. I would like to be a part of this project. Are you looking for photographers for the show? I am a sustainable fashion photographer. I look forward to working with you and spread the sustainable values in conscious fashion. Thank you for reaching out. Elizabeth, I'll let you answer that question, but thank you for being here, and I really appreciate that.
I mean, Gaia, yes, please do join us. Photography is always a crucial part of the storytelling, so we're happy to get as much help as we can. And I'm sure also the different brands we will be representing, they all have their own photography, of course, but we will be definitely in need. So if you want to message us, we are happy to stay in touch and to see what can be done.
Oh,
Thank you.
okay, thank you. Hi, nice to meet you. So just I have another question. How can I get in contact with you?
I think it's good that you messaged the WFTO team. They didn't help me out. How is it going to be the best way to do that?
I'm thinking
yeah, maybe reach out to us. Of course, this capsule collection is specifically for our membership. But we can think about ways in which we have to discuss it among us. I cannot say something concrete right now,
So
but
here what I will do, I will write you my email address in the chat. Please reach out to me and I'll make the connection with WFTO team so that we can discuss how and if this could be possible. Is that okay?
Yes, that's perfect. Thank you. Because I was looking I was looking on your website and I saw that there's a form for membership, and I guess it's only for brands.
it's
We also
it's
hi.
not. Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
Natalie.
You can go, Saren.
It's not.
Okay.
I mean, our membership is open to enterprises at large. They don't have to be also, they can provide services and not only products as well. So so you can reach out through that if you are interested in W membership for your company as well.
Please, yeah.
So I write to Isabella first, and then I'll.
Happy to put you in touch with the right people, of course.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Thank you for attending.
Do we have any other questions related to this activity we're having? Very, very soon. I'm also excited about it.
Yes, thank you. Very, very interesting and yes, wonderful presentation. In case my brand or my company, Mifuko, would be chosen to this exhibition, does it include that somebody from our side, from our company, will also travel to the exhibition, or how it works?
So we don't have the budget for paying for those people to attend. We will be attending, of course, if somebody wants to join, they're more than welcome to join us, not to crowd the stand, but we are happy to accommodate that, especially for a beautiful company like Mifuko. I hope you will have a submission and you will have your bags and accessories in that stand.
Yeah, that would be great. Okay, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
If we don't have any more questions, we can wrap up. Natalie.
Yes, I just want to say thank you to both of you. I feel so inspired and so informed, and I don't even have a brand. So yeah. So if I'm feeling like this, I can just imagine how our members will feel once we share the recording with the wider groups. So thank you so much for sharing all your knowledge. And Saren and I were chatting through your presentation, and we really were inspired. So thank you. And
so much. I was inspired. I'm inspired by the project and the work we're doing. So it definitely warms my heart. I think this will be really useful for our members, and it's quite
absolutely.
So thank
I'm
you.
sure it will. You did such a tremendous work of combing all those trends and putting them together in such a beautiful way, valuable to any of our members. Thank you very much, Dondrill.
Yeah, oh, my
Thank you.
pleasure. Thank you. Guys.
And thank you both. And yes, we'll share the link with our members, the rest of the members, and hopefully we get many submissions. And wish you all the best the rest of the day and the rest of the week. And we'll chat again.
Oh, it sounds good. Thank you so much, guys. And Maud was there. Hi, Maud. All right, take care, you guys. I'll look forward.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.